Hello, my name is Mary, a woman in my 30s. I'm married with one child. My husband is younger than me and the eldest son in his family. He has a much younger brother. My husband Tom and his brother Jim have a significant age gap. Since I'm older than my husband, I didn't interact much with Jim, who was much younger. Jim and his wife Linda had a shotgun wedding and got married before us, but they never had a ceremony. I hardly ever speak to Linda, who is 12 years younger than me. I never imagined that Jim and Linda would cause such an uproar. One Friday afternoon, out of the blue, I got a call from my mother-in-law Kate about Jim's wedding this weekend. "What time is your dress appointment? The venue's parking isn't very spacious, so if your appointment is close to ours, why not come with us?" That was the moment I found out Jim was having a wedding ceremony. It was the biggest surprise of my life. I explained the situation to Kate, and she was just as shocked. "I'll get in touch with Jim and call you back." I messaged Tom, but he was busy and took a while to respond. I thought if I wasn't originally invited, it would be sad, but I'd understand. However, if I was expected to attend, I couldn't relax, as I needed to go to my parents' house to pick up my dress. An hour later, Tom replied, equally surprised. He said he'd contact Jim and Kate. I was confused about preparing a cash gift as well. "What about the cash gift?" I asked Tom, and this was his response. "When Jim got married, I already gave them $1,000. And when I told Linda to let us know if they needed anything, she said they wanted a fridge, which we bought. So do we need to give another cash gift now?" His question left me puzzled. An hour later, Kate called again. "The reception is this Sunday. It's just one train stop from you and Tom's place. Linda wanted to save on postage for the invitation, so she tried to deliver it by bike. But with 4 kids, she couldn't manage it, and it got left undone." When I confronted Jim, he said it was Linda's idea to have the ceremony, and he left all the planning to her. "So, he didn't think you didn't know about it?" I could hear the astonishment in Kate's voice. If it weren't for her call, we would have missed the ceremony. I had met Linda at Jim's place a month ago when I delivered a gift. Since she couldn't visit her parents, I wish she had mentioned the ceremony and the invitation then. It left me feeling a bit frustrated. Jim called Tom directly to apologize, but we didn't hear anything from Linda. I couldn't help but want to ask if they really wanted us, Tom and I, to come. In any case, I had to get my dress, so I called my mom, only to find out that she had left the dress with her sister-in-law years ago because it was too much trouble to keep. I was told to contact them if I needed to pick up the dress, but it turned into such a hassle that I was left holding my head in my hands. When I discussed the cash gift with Kate, she mentioned Ben's idea. Since we helped them with their car inspection fee last year, that could be the gift. But still, it feels awkward to go to the reception empty-handed, doesn't it? That's when, a bit of mischief in mind, I made this suggestion. "How about including a note with a cash gift explaining..." Laughter. Kate laughed and agreed, so we decided to go with that plan. While I was writing the note, Ben called. "Thanks for the idea earlier. Since Tom and his family seem to rely on our support, here's what I've decided to write on the note. The vehicle inspection cost $2,500. We'll consider $1,500 as the cash gift, so you just need to repay the remaining $1,000. It was unusual to lose money instead of gaining from a cash gift, which made me laugh. Kate didn't seem to mind, but Ben planned to confront after the reception, suggesting that if they could afford a reception, they should repay the remaining $1,000 in full. Tom, unhappy with the whole situation, decided not to attend. After Jim's call, he mentioned neither being asked for a suitable date nor formally invited. It could have been because I was 3 months postpartum at the time and not going out much. Late at night, I received a message from Linda. "Sorry about the invitation. I thought Kate might have told you. Do you need a reservation for your dress? It's around $180. She seemed unaware that we hadn't talked to Jim and didn't know we were not attending. So, I replied, "I don't have a dress at home, so it's impossible to prepare in one day. And we really can't attend. Tom has already informed Jim." Shortly after I received a reply, I heard from Tom. "Since he can't be persuaded, I'm asking you, Mary, if you don't show up, there might be a cancellation fee. I'll check tomorrow. Anyway, you need to decide about the dress appointment tomorrow morning. Hair and makeup will be an additional $100. I'm going to be blunt. Inviting us to a reception just 2 days in advance is unreasonable. You have an infant too. So you should understand the difficulty. Right after showing Tom the exchanges with Linda, he was furious and called Jim. The venue is new, and we want it as a free monitor, so there's no cancellation fee. If it's free, did you make sure to tell the guests they don't need to give cash gifts? I told my friends. Anyway, you're also at fault for leaving everything to Linda. We attended the wedding party when you registered your marriage, so we won't be coming this Sunday. If you don't like empty seats, invite someone else for a free meal. Feeling relieved after this, another message from Linda arrived. The ceremony itself is free, but I upgraded the dress because it was too simple, and we added drink refills and paid for wedding favors. I didn't know Tom told his friends not to bring cash gifts. This messes up my plan to offset the cost with cash gifts. If you're not coming, you should at least pay for the drinks and favors. As she cried, I retorted, "It's your fault for forgetting to invite us. Why should we pay a cancellation fee? But now that you know and still won't come, it's different." How is it different? Either way, it's your fault. As family, you should make an effort to attend. It's basic decency. Anyway, it's a sudden request for us as a couple, and what's impossible is just impossible. I'll talk to Kate about it. I was utterly astounded when the call was cut off with such a childish parting shot. In the morning, Tom called Kate to inform her of our absence, and she suggested we discuss it over lunch at her place. Regarding the additional cost Linda mentioned, Jim seemed unaware and furious. I was against having a reception in the first place. I agreed only because it was a free campaign. I didn't know about extra charges. If it costs money, I don't want it. We couldn't save money for the car inspection despite knowing the date, so Dad paid. It's wrong to have a reception without repaying that first. Jim had lost all enthusiasm for the reception upon arriving at the in-laws. Tom declared our decision not to go, and Ben agreed. It's rude not to send an invitation, even to family. You're right not to go. I understand, but it's a pity for Jim. Tom, if you don't have other plans, could you go? All of Jim's kids are boys, right? Babysitting is tough, so your help would be appreciated. Kate had a bit of a tendency to dote on Jim, who had been fond of her since he was little. As for Linda's parents, her mother had broken her leg and couldn't help, while her father refused to babysit, saying they decided to have the reception with their 4 children, so they should handle it themselves. Tom suggested, if Linda's parents aren't helping, we shouldn't either. Mom is too lenient with Jim. Linda thinks she can get away with anything because of it. Ben agreed, but it's tough with 4 kids. Jim's shotgun wedding was his own doing. The lack of planning is evident, even with unexpected twins. Better planning would have prevented this babysitting issue. It's a result of poor organization, so you should skip it. Thanks to Ben, the matter was settled, and Tom called Jim to confirm our absence. Jim promised to talk to Linda. However, even after Jim's explanation, Linda called, still not convinced. The reception is free, but we need to follow the venue's gift count. It's important for Tom to attend as the eldest. You don't need to bring a cash gift, but we need you to cover the meal and favors. It's already tomorrow, Tom. You can't just cancel last minute. The lack of invitation was your responsibility. Consider it a lesson and handle it yourself. I'll talk to Kate about it. I won't change my mind no matter what Mom says. You know that, right? The call ended, but on the morning of the reception, Linda called Tom again. Sensing it was about the reception and considering the early hour, Tom decided to answer, thinking there might be an important reason. It turned out Linda's friend had canceled, and she was asking if Tom could invite a childhood friend who lived behind his parents' house. New Jim, I can explain the situation and invite them, but it's unreasonable to expect me to contact someone whose details I don't even know. Linda, sounding irritated, raised her voice. That's why I'm asking you, Tom. Tom, usually not the one to get angry, was visibly upset. If someone cancels at the last minute, it's probably due to illness or a more urgent matter. It's not necessary just to fill the numbers. After Tom's sarcastic remark, Linda stumbled over her words and fell silent. Apparently, she hadn't sent invitations to local friends either, trying to save on postage. I don't know when the reception starts, but you must be busy preparing to leave the house, so I'll hang up. Despite being a man not easily swayed by emotions, Tom received no more calls from Kate urging attendance. I received a message from Kate with a photo attached from inside the chapel, indicating that the reception had started. Kate is someone who enjoys chatting and often sends casual conversation messages unintentionally. I ended up learning about the state of the reception. The ceremony in the chapel, starting at 11 a.m., was open to all, with the reception following at 12 p.m. At the chapel ceremony, only the parents from both families, Linda's relatives, and 3 of Jim's friends were present. Kate was worried whether anyone would actually show up for the reception. There were only 2 tables on the groom's side, and Kate felt sorry for Jim. Linda's mother, who had fractured her leg, was in casual clothes, which led Linda's father to wear a regular suit. Can you believe it? Linda's relatives are all in regular dresses. No one even has their hair done. It's usually the bride's friends who attend the chapel ceremony. Who will catch the bouquet? They didn't forget to send invitations like us, did they? Ben looks upset, sitting there expressionless and silent. It looks like it's going to be a quiet meal. The reception moved to the main venue, where Jim's side had only 2 tables filled by 3 friends and the in-laws. It seems our family was supposed to make up the 3rd table. And then we sat down. There were 2 kids' chairs between Ben and me, and 2 baby beds on the other side. Looks like we were expected to watch the kids. Ben's about to lose it, and the bride's side friends. It's only your family with 3 kids, and 1 table is empty. They're late. Eventually, Ben managed to get Linda's parents to help with the babysitting. 2, carrying large bags, sat down at Linda's empty table, giving Kate some relief. I thought it was props for a performance, but I guess it got canceled due to time constraints. When Kate mentioned this to Ben about Linda's friends' bags, Ben, still angry, commented, "That looks more like shopping bags from a bargain sale." Kate sent another message saying she'd become expressionless again. She later sent a photo she took with Jim, where she was smiling broadly while Jim looked expressionless. Kate, being rather obvious, seemed to think the reception went well. I got an email from Jim. He's coming to our house today. Why don't you and Tom join us for dinner? She seemed unaware of the potential for conflict. I showed Tom Kate's message, and he decided to go to his parents' house to talk with Jim and Linda, asking me to stay home. At 6 p.m., they gathered at the in-laws' house. I waited at home, but Tom filled me in later. The additional charges Linda incurred for the reception were because the wedding planner had assured her they could be offset with cash gifts. In reality, cash gifts had already been given at the time of their marriage registration. There were none from the relatives. Although Jim's friends were told they didn't need to bring any, they each brought $100. Linda's friends, thinking the reception was canceled because they didn't receive invitations, had made other plans. After being informed at the last minute, the only 2 of Linda's friends who attended thought they were stopping by after shopping. Having been asked to speak or consult, as a result, they only collected $600, not enough to cover the additional charges. They reportedly asked Ben if they could pay the $1,000 car inspection fee in installments. Linda, in tears, said the reception was a disaster and blamed herself. When Tom pressed for an explanation about the lack of invitations and phone calls, Jim gave this reason. "I didn't particularly want to do it myself, so I thought if I called Tom, it might seem like I was eager to." Linda said she would handle the invitations, so I left it to her. You totally abandoned something you decided to do as a couple. It's your fault for prioritizing your feelings and neglecting what needed to be done. The same goes for the car inspection payment. You left all the financial management to Linda, which led to this situation. Every month, she complained about being in the red, so when I took over the finances, it seemed too hard for her. She threatened to divorce me and went back to her parents' home. Even Linda's mom scolded me. Then Tom later said, Jim likes beautiful women and children, so he didn't want a divorce, but he regretted not allowing it, given this outcome. Linda is so beautiful that if there were 10 people, all 10 would say she's pretty. Having only 2 sons, Kate had longed for a daughter. She liked Jim, favored beauty, so she was very fond of Linda. Kate is essentially someone who can say no when asked for help, and always tries to act for the benefit of others. However, this tendency backfired, and I received a message from Kate, who was at home, asking for my help. Linda is being scolded by Ben for all the things I've done for her, and I'm getting scolded by Jim. What should I do? I'm in the bathroom, so please give me some good advice quickly. When I asked what exactly Kate had done, it turned out she was scolded for always cooking and delivering dinners to Jim because Linda often said Jim wanted to eat Kate's cooking. It seemed Linda is not good at cooking, and Kate's pampering was the reason she never improved. Kate then had to return to the discussion, and I received no further replies. According to what Tom told me, Kate was reprimanded by Jim with these words. "Didn't you think about teaching her instead of just giving her food? She was always happy with the same seasoning as yours." I thought it was unfair to blame Kate for being kind. It seemed like the indulgence was on their part, not Kate's. Ben seemed to feel the same, and the discussion concluded like this. "I think it's not bad that Kate likes to be relied upon and often takes on various tasks. It's better than pushing responsibilities onto others. However, it's different when family members exploit that. We don't want Kate's nature to be taken advantage of. Why didn't anyone think of teaching instead of just doing? That's something I should say, not you, the husband who let it happen." As a result of the discussion, Ben agreed to cover the additional cost of the reception. Tom was angry, calling it too lenient, but they concluded it was better for Ben to front the money and have Jim repay it on payday. It was decided that if Jim couldn't pay for the car inspection, Ben wouldn't lend him money again, and he would have to give up the car. Finally, when asked why they were continuously in the red, it was revealed that Linda had joined a mom's group. She had been dressing her kids in trendy brand clothes popular among the group, leading to considerable expenses. Some friends who didn't attend the reception were part of this group, leaving Linda quite disappointed. She decided to leave the group after this incident. Following this, Linda began to control her spending to some extent and tried not to rely too much on Kate. She also didn't demand cancellation fees from us, Tom, and me this time. Ben and Tom's intervention was a significant help, and I am encouraged to speak up